Hey, what's going on? I am your host, Solo Mission, a voice for the independent man who's choosing to reach success and thus live his life in the singular. Also a certified SMI, and of course, an advocate for the acronym MGTOW, and that's universally known as men going their own way. Now I'm back on here. I wanted to do this video in the widescreen format because I had several articles and things that I wanted to include on the side here, but I will follow up with another video to include all of that going forward. This is that Illuminati based video in the pandemic of coronavirus. And for individuals who are distracted by the opposite sex, I highly encourage you to view the MGTOW content, because in the crisis of a pandemic, a man needs a sharp, crystal clear mind to focus on what's most important. All right. All right. And like I said before, MGTOW has to be more than just about eliminating women in your personal space, if you will. It has to be. And hopefully with this pandemic that we are currently in at the time of this video's recording, that one would take that enlightenment of the worldview and move forward with a crystal clear plan for oneself. All right. All right. So like I said in previous videos, especially on my Illuminati videos, you heard my terminology for the CDC. I don't give a fuck about their terminology, what the CDC mean. I said creating disease center. That's what the fuck I said in previous videos. And that's what we're going to say here. All right. Creating disease center. All right. So we're talking about coronavirus. People say, what does the 19 mean? Well, the 19 refers to 2019. If you really do your research and they try to downplay this, they meaning the media, news outlets, such and such, such and such. But see, the Illuminati has their leaks and cracks. And for one with a sharp mind who's woke with no distractions, thanks to MGTOW, you can focus on what's important in your life. And you can understand how to read between the fucking lines here. All right. All right. So in 2019, September, October, there was this quote unquote 201 event with the likes of Bill Gates and his wife and some other dignified higher uppers on the Illuminati pyramid, if you will, decided to do a fictitious experiment, for lack of a better word. This is a simulation of what would happen if a coronavirus was to get out in the world. Go figure. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go and get your research on it. You can type in event 201 and you can see this for yourself. Now they give credit, the Illuminati, Bill Gates, for always warning people about pandemics and stuff. Sure, why not? But I beg to differ, because I'm wondering why would a techno geek worry so much about pandemics so much? You know, if you really paid attention to the presidential meetings that they have every day, he has not once invited Bill Gates to speak, nor Bill Gates having invited himself to speak. And John Hopkins themselves haven't invited themselves to speak. Now, these are the ones, the major players at the event 201 that it was going on between September, October of 2019. In this simulated or computer generated event, you had your major players in the business world or in the world period simulate an event of a pandemic, which from their calculations, if the virus was to be released, it would kill upwards to 65 million people, right? Okay. So what was the purpose of a simulation to see if a virus can spread? and how would these different type of business leaders will respond. This was the basis of this simulation, if you will now. All right. Of course, everybody that's done their research see that there were certain copyrights and patents and trademarks on certain viral information that pertains to vaccines for this particular virus that got approved in 2019. Go figure. Again, it's downplayed by the media. The Illuminati want to keep it hush hush as well. Of course, they would tell you that that's pertaining to some other version of coronavirus. Of course, sure. But my point is that we see the facts come out that this virus supposedly started in Wuhan, China, at a banquet where everybody was eating free food or food period, and somehow the virus spread it in food because China loves to eat bats and rats and cats and dogs, hogs and hens, etc. Although that might be true, the fact of the matter is that the typical coronavirus, your common cold, the body can rid itself of. This is a little bit more deadly, a little bit more influenced by man. And so China has different quote unquote CDC like factories that are quote unquote responsible for handling viral and respiratory illnesses in Wuhan, for which they are known to not be able to contain. So all you need is one rogue individual who take the virus out in a place where all people are going to be eating and spread the virus there, knowing that it's a respiratory virus. Once you breathe it in while you're eating your food and fellowshipping, you fly on a plane, you're going to pass it to everybody else. The media want to tell you that coughing and sneezing is the way that it's passed. It lasts in the air for 3 hours. So common fucking sense that if you are walking out and breathing the quote unquote fresh air that they love to use, then you are potentially infecting yourself because the air is not fucking fresh. All right. All right. And so now they got those rumors that the virus might have been in one of the labs over there in Wuhan, China, that it has been released. Is this bio warfare? So on and so forth. No, it's the Illuminati here. All right. You don't do a 201 simulation event and then less than 6 months later, you got a real pandemic going across the globe here. All right. All right. So I don't buy into the bullshit that it just naturally happened by Chinese and all these people eating food at a Wuhan market. No, that's the cover up for anybody that has a opportune time to release a virus. That would be the most opportune time to do so, because you would hide under the cover that they was eating rats and cats and bats and at these market. No, you release the virus there because it would be easy transmissible in that setting of people eating, talking, and eventually flying out of the country. So the Illuminati, if we really understand it, gives 2 fucks about killing anyone in the world. That's the hint of New World Order. The pandemic of 1918, roughly 100 years ago, should have taught us a lot of things. That pandemic of 1918 lasted in most part until 1922. A few years later, you had the Great Depression, 1928 through 1934. So they never really recovered. Plus, you had wars going on as well. So that was the most extreme pandemic. And yet, the only thing that came out of that was the flu vaccine. They never cured Spanish flu. The flu vaccine and all of its iteration versions that be released every fucking year is a treatment or remedy. It's not a cure for getting the flu. And that's why they always advocate that you get a flu vaccine every year so they can inject you with bullshit. But if you, with common sense, do not know how your body is going to react to vaccines being injected into your bloodstream, why the fuck would you take that shit? You don't. There are many studies on this YouTube channel of people taking vaccines and having adverse effects. Do not take my word for it. Get your viewer and reviews on. All right. So we realize in the greatest pandemic of any era of 1918 that they did use the separation contract. They also did the quarantine. It was mandatory that people wear masks then, and some other steps as well as far as shutting down governments. And so we basically repeating history almost 100 years later. The fact with this one here, though, is that we have a 201 event less than 6 months after that. We have a major pandemic using the same bullshit that they was doing in the 201 event. The 201 event is talking about a coronavirus going buck wild and infecting millions of people across the globe. And what do we have here in 2020? The same fucking scenario they was doing in that 201 event. So I'm not surprised that the Illuminati across the globe is willing to kill people. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised that the news media is not really asking the real questions. All right. I'm not surprised that you have stores with empty shelves and all this. None of that. None of that surprises me. All right. What surprises me is the common sense that we are not injecting in our own mind to realize what time it is here. For men that go MGTOW, this should be crystal clear to you. You don't have time for baggage and women when you are living in survival mode. Right? All right. And when you have quote unquote pandemics, whether they are natural or man-made, you must be ready to take action for yourself, for your life, for your family. For individuals who are watching this video and you're a young man, you're just starting, this is the time now going forward for you to take stock in what's going on around the world and make concrete decisions that this is what I need to be doing for me. Damn a female, damn a job, no, you. So you can have money to fall back on. You be able to make moves for yourself and be able to survive in this Illuminati ass world. So I don't expect the WHO, the World Health Organization, or the CDC, the creating the Zenner ass. I don't expect them to tell me what the fuck is real. When I see that you simulating events, the CDC is supposed to control diseases. So what the fuck are we doing here? Clearly you're dropping the ball. All right. Just like their test kits that they released when this shit first happened. The test kits was contaminated with the fucking coronavirus. What sense does that make? Well, it makes perfect sense to me because they are the goddamn creating disease center. So I'm not surprised by that. Shit don't shock me. I've been saying that for many videos that I post on this motherfucking page. Don't surprise me. It's the Illuminati shit. So I'm not surprised by it. So my video here is to enlighten and remind men out there on this, the singular. That's my new shit. I love MGTOW, but it's time for me to do my own shit. Live life in the singular, nigga. Fuck out of here. Live life in the singular. Because see, life in the singular has you really mentally woke to what's going on around you. You're not sitting here worrying about, oh, I didn't get no pussy. Oh, she didn't call me back. That's the last thing on your mind, man. It's the last thing on your mind when you're trying to survive, man. Right? Last thing on your mind when you're trying to survive in a world who's hell-bent on following the rules of the Illuminati. So eventually the truth will come out, whether this is natural or man-made, whether it's a bio or a transition of power or what have you. But what we realize is that the time is now for people to wake up. People claim that they are woke and fall victim to shit like this. Let's really be mentally woke in this game. Let's really analyze what's going around in this world. Let's stay focused and sharp. So when we recognize the Illuminati works for what they are, we can get out of the fucking matrix and survive in this world. All right? You got all these governors open up the little governments, letting people go back out into the world. People protesting. The same individuals that's protesting most likely going to end up getting sick because you breathe in the contaminated air that's quote unquote fresh air. I get tired of hearing that goddamn phrase. The air is not fresh, nigga. If the virus is... Never mind. I digress. But for individuals who are out there protesting because they want to go to work, they feel that this is a dictatorship bounding them to be home. No problem. But this is a global here for the United States. If we call ourselves being united, this does affect the United States. What happened in one state eventually would travel to another. So again, for men, because I speak for men, the singular, that's my new shit. A man must always think of himself. We are constantly, especially African-American men, but men in general, are constantly being degraded. We are supposed to be this feminized, cis-fied-ass version of ourselves. We're supposed to be extra understanding to fuck shit. We don't supposed to have a voice. Even when we have a voice, that's taken away. No free speech. So we're supposed to do like our predecessors. Bring home the paper check, shut the fuck up, work ourselves to our grave, die. That was the mindset of many men in past generations. For once, can we teach the new generation of men on how to be men? The meaning of masculinity and masculine energy. The meaning of self-valuing. Meaning of purpose, drive, values, goals. The meaning of survival in this world. So again, this is the quick video because I wanted to do all my widescreen presentation shit because that's what I've been doing on this fucking channel any damn way. I want to really let it hit home. When I do points, I want to have a point right there so you can see the shit. And if you didn't get it then, you can come back and watch the video like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Now I get that shit. It makes sense now. Like some of my videos now, you go watch them now, it will crystallize to you now because you're living in the shit. The Illuminati gives no fucks about death. The New World Order gives no fucks. All these higher billionaires give no fucks. All right? Sure, they got a vaccine for the higher uppers. Sure. Just like they got bunkers under the ground for anybody they want to take care of. That's not a joke. That's not me making up. That's facts. So if you higher up on the food chain, you're going to be protected in this world. All right? So for this video right here, let's recognize the pandemic that we're living in. Let's really analyze what we are hearing in the news. Analyze body language when people say shit in the news. Look at and view multiple sources. Read multiple sources so you can have a sharp mind when you are analyzing the shit that's being said from month to month to month, so you can see how individuals change their shit when they speak. It's your boy, man. Solo Mission.